How you doing, everyone? This is Matthias Atva from Dreadnought, your Dreadnought PS4 replay guy. I just got back from Connecticut for my work trip, and I really haven't had enough time to complete the How to Survive the Best episode in the How to Beat the Best series. So I thought I'd have a bit of a casual Saturday and get a couple drinks in me, relax, have some burgers, and throw together a quick replay showcasing one of my favorite secondary builds. I wanted to get into secondary builds and their importance in Dreadnought, mainly because that's the key to surviving a lot of concerted efforts from enemy teams and squads. And it's really a good tool when you're dealing with organized strategic or tactical gameplay. I already had one episode where I used a jumping Jutland build on my Monarch as a good secondary for my main Monarch build, which is a little bit static, and it does well on small maps and maps where the action is more centrally located. However, sometimes that particular build gets left behind and isn't very mobile, so I use the old jumping Jutland build on the Monarch to give it some mobility while still retaining a whole bunch of tankiness and close range firepower. This particular build of the Jupiter Arms Kataro tactical cruiser is kind of loosely based on the stealth bomber build, and I've used the stealth bomber build. It used to be very popular, but it gets you into a lot of trouble. You wind up cloaking to get into a fight and then have really no means of escape, no exit strategy after you've gotten your kill if it went well. It's good to see that most players have left this behind. I used to get criticisms for my main Kataro build, which is artillery pods, healing pods, repair auto beams, and energy generator. A lot of people claim that the Kataro and other Jupiter Arms tacticals are really Corvette hunters. I know the game was allegedly designed that tacticals would be good Corvette hunters, but to quote Scroat, this really isn't the case. Destroyers remain the main Corvette hunter, and actually in real fleet tactics and naval warfare, the torpedo boat destroyer, its original role was to destroy torpedo boats or corvettes. And later on, when strike aircraft became more prevalent in naval warfare, the destroyer's primary role was to defend the carrier, battleship, and other naval assets from air attack, as well as corvettes and submarines. So this actually makes sense in lore, and probably one of the best anti-corvette builds on a ship you can have is a destroyer with stasis ammo, or an Oberon destroyer with good mobility. You can see here that in this particular replay there are a lot of Oberon destroyers. Most of them are Brutus, and I believe these guys were in a squad. It's Protean Empire 3, who's an excellent player, Tit Freak, who's also a very good player, and a couple other really good players. They were trying 3 to 4 Brutuses to try to overwhelm us, and I had Dervish Knife on my team, or Laser Bait, and you know he's probably going to take a Corvette. And it seemed that the squad needed a little dedicated anti-destroyer firepower, and that's where this build comes in. My normal tactical, as I said before, it gets a lot of criticism for being a healer when it should be anti-corvette, and the current meta, actually, most Kataro tacticals do have at least artillery pod and healing pod for mutual support, and a lot of them also use the repair auto beams. The meta now reflects that a support artillery pod based Kataro or Jupiter Arms tactical is the way to go. And Six-Pack and other players do use the old kamikaze stealth bomber, where they use emergency evac to... That's a really good dodge, by the way. Protean Empire was really getting sick of me, and I didn't have my emergency evac available, so that was that was one of my finer moments right there of this match. He's a really good player, and that was pretty hair-raising right there, but I got out of it. Now, don't get me wrong, Six-Pack is a shockingly good player and also shockingly well-liked, as you will see next week. He has more of a back and forth, I go in, kill the command ship, kill one guy and die, kill a guy that killed me and die, and this back and forth zerging thing, and he does get a lot of top scores in matches, and a lot of times his team wins because of his efforts, but it's just not my kind of game style. I don't like getting a 14-13 and ticking everyone on both teams off with kamikaze playstyle. So this was a bit of a modification of that, and it came out of surviving Scroat's crew, the Space Apes, and it's basically a baiter ship. It goes in and it applies constant damage to fast-moving ships like corvettes or Oberon destroyers, and it ticks them off till they chase you, and on the way in you fire your flechettes and then you cloak up, and all the while you're dropping artillery pods in hard to reach places, and a lot of times artillery pods get placed in the heel ball and are easily dodged, and here what's happening is they're being dropped in flanking positions, so it's really annoying, really hard to get away from it. And of course we have blast pulse, so when you're running away, when someone hits 2,000 meters, you cloak up, run away, and then when they stop chasing you, you blast pulse them, finish them off. It's a really good build for fast attack hunting squads. As you see here, 3 double kills, 15-0, took care of those Brutuses very well. So I just wanted to put this out there as a good replay, but it's not a top 10 in any category. But I do want to start doing secondary builds for a lot of ships and doing requests for subscribers and viewers for secondary builds, specialty builds, or just builds you want to try but you don't have the resources to buy the modules and do it yourself, and I do, so maybe I would give that a shot. Anyway, I want to close this video by saying the top 10 Dreadnought PS4 player vote is still ongoing. We have a lot of votes, over 100 players, over 300 votes, and quickly climbing. And tomorrow is the last day for that. Let me get another drink here. Good stuff. Long Island iced teas. All afternoon. Also, I will be posting that next week. I'll probably be posting the How to Survive the Best series. Special thanks to Antonio for giving some props to me. A lot of players ask me if I'm going to switch to another game. Is Dreadnought dying? And on that topic, I did want to say at the end of this video, I'm not sure what golden age on PS4 people are referring to. When I first started playing in 5v5, very few players even had tier 5 ships for legendary. Wait times were 20 plus minutes. After 8v8 started, it got a little better, 10-20 minute wait time for matches, but the matches usually had the same people. Usually Scroat and his crew. I mean, it got to the point where some days I was fighting them every day, every match, and it was the same, 16, 20 players every single match. And then towards the end of last year, things got really good. And then around New Year's, you saw a consistent less than 4 minutes queue time for PS4. I know PC had not been doing well lately, but PS4, I mean, I log on every day for a couple hours and I squeeze in sometimes 8 to 12 matches, usually at least 6 to 8 matches in just a couple hours. I'm seeing new faces, and I'm also seeing a lot of old faces still. I may get a good KD, but I lose a lot of matches. There's a lot of tough players out there. The game is not as lopsided as it used to be. Queue times are still fantastic, and it's really sad because it seems that the devs have given up a bit, and some people have written the game off because of how poor PC and Steam are doing. But I have to say, I don't think that I'm going to switch platforms or games soon. I did have plans to do that if things went south really quickly for Dreadnought, but it really hasn't. I keep getting more subscribers every day. I keep seeing new faces every day playing the game. I still have consistently 4-minute or less wait for queue times, and a lot of times I'll join a quick squad just to be friendly, and we'll press the triangle button to play, and it instantly pops us into a match. And that's not the sign of a dead game. So I don't think PS4 Dreadnought is dead. And so I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue with strategy videos. I'm going to continue with replays and whatever else I can. It's a little hobby of mine. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the hobby of posting on YouTube. And we keep getting more players, and I'm sure those newer players have questions and maybe want some tips and maybe want to do better before the game is no longer with us. And with the rumors that the server lease got extended and PS4 still being free to play on Dreadnought PS4 on PlayStation, new players are going to keep picking the game up, old players are going to keep coming back. So I don't think the game is as dead as people think. And as long as it's not dead, as long as I still have fun playing, I'm going to make content for that. But anyway, I wanted to do a quick video because I wasn't able to get one out last week after the update for May. And it's been a little exhausting week for me, but I thought I'd relax and show this secondary build for our Kataro tactical cruiser. And if you have any requests for builds for specific ships other than my main builds for the 15 tier 5 ships in Dreadnought, go ahead, leave a comment. I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can throw something together. And always remember, try to have a secondary build on all your ships so you can take on organized squads when they show up, or if the enemy team decides to pull out a lot of corvettes or a lot of tacticals or a lot of artillery cruisers, you have a backup build to deal with that and be successful, because you may have the greatest build as your primary, but it's always going to have weaknesses and it's always going to have counters. Anyway, that's it for me for now, and I'll see you soon in Sinley Bay.